In this video we are going to demonstrate error events. Consider the following business situation. In a credit request, a service retrieves the credit report associated with the client to analyze the request. This report is mandatory to continue with the analysis process. In this diagram, this service task represents an integration point to retrieve the credit report. After that, the credit analyst can evaluate the request. However, what happens if the Get Credit Report task fails? The process is stuck. In BPMN, another figure is the error event attached to the service task boundary. This event indicates a fault, i.e. that this service could not complete normally. The external system can be unavailable or the communication may be down. This is a technical exception, not a business exception. The normal flow is followed when the service task completes. In this diagram, the B activity is a service task. If this service fails due to a technical error, an exception flow will be launched, i.e. the D activity. Going back to the business situation, if the service does not respond, the report should be included manually by a credit analyst. This is the exception flow when the Get Credit Report activity fails. Look at the diagram with this exception flow. In this case, if the service task fails, a manual task will be launched to continue with the flow. See the simulation. That is an error boundary event on a service task that indicates a fault. Now consider another business situation. In the claims and complaints process, having performed the actions associated with the claim, the final result should be communicated. This communication is characterized by a telephonic communication is always made initially. An attempt will be made each 24 hours until 3 attempts have been made. Only if the telephone number is wrong will a written communication be sent. When an error event is attached to a subprocess, the error source is in the subprocess. The error signal is thrown by the error end event. When an error end event is reached, it means that this subprocess has finished abnormally, and therefore an exception flow should be followed by the process. See the simulation. An error end event indicates that a flow path which represents an error has ended. It launches an error exception that will be captured by an error intermediate event attached to the subprocess boundary. This is called a throw-catch error. Going back to our business situation, the inform client telephonically subprocess has an error boundary. The error signal can only be caught by the error intermediate event associated with this subprocess. When this occurs, the exception flow is the send correspondence activity. Otherwise, the process finishes. Expanding this subprocess. If the telephone was entered in the system incorrectly, the subprocess finishes abnormally. It could not be finished successfully due to an error. In this case, the error signal will be sent by the error end event and will be caught by the error intermediate event.